Little Saint Nick. Could Nick Foles be the savior for the Philadelphia Eagles? We'll discuss today. Welcome to the Glockcast, a therapy edition of the Glockcast today. You know, I remember so many terrible moments in Philadelphia sports history and going right to 610 WIP back then and hearing the host get me through it. And that's why I'm here today. I want to get us through this disaster. I can't believe I'm here talking about a Carson Wentz season-ending injury. It sucks. You know, there's no other way around it. I'm not here to tell you that this doesn't suck. This absolutely, positively blows. There's no way around it. You know, I'm not here to debate that. However, it's week 15 of the football season, okay? The Eagles are 11-2. They're NFC East Division champions. They have a really good chance to get home field throughout. I'm not ready to throw the towel in on the season. I'm not. We're going to talk about the heartbreak. We're going to talk about Nick Foles. But I'm just not ready to throw the towel in yet. I'm really not. I think the Eagles still have a chance to make a run. Now, how far did we think the Eagles were going to get anyway? We thought they were going to have home field. We were worried about the Saints, the Panthers. We were worried about Aaron Rodgers coming back. We're worried about Minnesota. They're still going to have an opportunity. You never know what's going to happen. Now, yeah, I don't have any support there. I don't have anything to back that up. I don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, I do weirdly have some faith. I do. I believe in the coaching staff. I believe in the defense. Now, this is the 5th ranked defense in the NFL. They're giving up 19.2 points a game. Yeah, they didn't look great last week, but I believe in the defense. I believe in the leadership on the defense. You saw how they turned up when Carson Wentz went out. I do believe in that. Now, people in the media, for some reason, have had an issue with why the fans believe in Nick Foles. And I'm not sitting here saying Nick Foles is a good quarterback. I'm really not. He hasn't been good ever, maybe. And he showed a glimmer in 2013. I'm not here to tell you Nick Foles is, a franchise quarterback, even a good quarterback. But the media members that are ripping the fans believe in Nick Foles because think about it. Nick Foles was drafted here. The Eagles drafted him. They're familiar with him. They've seen Nick Foles have success here. They've seen Nick Foles take the Eagles to the playoffs, on the verge of a playoff victory at home against New Orleans. So this is why the fans do believe in Nick Foles. If it was Chase Daniel that was the quarterback right now, nobody would be believing in anything. It would be even worse than it is now. If it was Matt Moore, if it was Tom Savage, if it was any of these no-name quarterbacks that all suck, that probably just like Nick Foles, nobody would have any faith whatsoever, and it would actually be worse. Now, it can't get worse than losing Carson Wentz. It can't. You already lost your left tackle. You already lost your middle linebacker. It can't get much worse than this. But people do have faith, and they should have faith. Why not? They've seen Nick Foles have success. I've seen Nick Foles have success. Do I think he's going to outplay Drew Brees in the NFC title game? Probably not. But could the Eagles defense rise to the occasion and the Eagles win a 24-21 miracle win? Yeah, maybe they could. So I'm not ready to throw the towel in yet. They have the 2nd-ranked rushing attack in the league. They got Jay Ajayi for a reason. Okay? How far can they ultimately go? I'm not sure. But I know for a fact they're going to be hosting at least one playoff game, most likely 2 playoff games, and I'm not, for one, going to throw in the towel on that yet. You never know what can happen. We could have a snowstorm. We could get lucky. I don't know what's going to happen. You play the Patriots in the Super Bowl, maybe Brady goes down. I never thought Carson Wentz was going to go down, so you never know what's going to happen. So I hate the people that are ragging on the fans for believing in Nick Foles. And it's not that they're believing in Nick Foles. It's what else are they going to do? We had, the fans, had the Super Bowl on a silver platter we were taking bites of it throughout the season, and then right as we were going to get to the main part of it, they took it away. So what are the fans supposed to do? And I'm actually surprised with some of the positive reaction that there has been. I'm glad that there's a little bit of positive reaction. I really am. Because I'm telling you, if this was Chase Daniel, quarterback, there wouldn't be this positive reaction. This would be even worse than it is. I'm telling you right now. And think about that. And Howie Roseman has to get some credit for bringing in Foles at this point. I mean, good move. And like I said, Ajayi. They have Ajayi. They brought in Ajayi. Use him. We'll see. We'll see how the coaching staff reacts. Sunday is huge. We'll talk about it a little more. I'm going to bring in, for the fans' perspective, the head fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dirty 30. Who are they? I have the Dirty One, Jordan Bruni, in studio with me. What's up, Jordan? It's been a tough couple days here.
I knew nobody out there thought they were going to hear my voice again. You know, Sunday night I was on the Ben Franklin Bridge with the wind at my back, just thinking about just making the jump. But then my optimistic inner Bruni reached out to me and he said, Jordan, look, you got to consider the other components of this team. There's other weapons we have. There's ways they can build around this and still move forward. So you know what I did? I jumped back, got off the bridge, and now I'm kind of looking at it from a different aspect. And to be honest with you, I think the Eagles still have a shot in this whole Super Bowl visit.
And that's saying something, folks. If Jordan is still in, you should still be in. And I don't care what the media members are saying or making fun of you or crying on the radio or whatever they're doing. If Jordan's in, you should be in. I'm telling you that right now.
Exactly. You gotta have faith. It's a mourning process basically this week. It's like Monday, you know, you're gonna cry all day and you're gonna think about Wentz and how good he's done all season. And then Tuesday and then, you know, so forth. You're gonna go through, you know, different emotions, and you're gonna tell yourselves different things, and you'll eventually come to, you know, some type of reality that there is a possibility we can still pull through.
What are we supposed to say? You know what I mean? I agree with you. I'm not going to give up on an 11-2 season. I'm just not. Now, let's go back to the injury just for a second here, a little bit. I remember the McNabb injury in 2002. Now, that was November 17th. It was week 11. The Eagles won that game and went to 7-3 against Arizona, if you recall. They went 5-1 down the stretch. One game with Coy Detmer and the rest of the way with A.J. Feely. Granted, they knew they had McNabb coming back, so they tightened things up. The defense was probably a little bit better than this defense. But there's a sample size right there. It can be done. Now, they didn't win the Super Bowl anyway, that team, with McNabb. McNabb came back. They lost to Tampa Bay. We know how that went. So you never know. Terrell Owens, his injury in 2004, that was December 19th. That was actually week 15. That injury was pretty devastating too. Those are the two injuries that come to mind to me that I was like overly devastated like I was with this one. But the Wentz injury was the worst of all time. And when he went down initially, I was like, okay, he's got a concussion. Because he looked woozy. I was like, oh, he's got a concussion. And then my buddy was saying, dude, he can barely walk. And I'm saying, no way. And then he goes into he comes off the field, goes into the tent, and then he goes right into the tunnel. And I'm like, oh, no. And immediately they're like, yeah, he's out for the game. And it's like, oh, dude. And then Schefter comes out with the ACL. I mean,
I was so upset, but I was so happy by the win. So there's just this bittersweet feeling going through my body. And
yeah, because we're NFC East champs for the first time since Chip Kelly's first year. So I agree.
And here's the thing: when Carson Wentz took that hit, he went back on the field and he still threw a touchdown. However, when that happened, I saw his face after he was in the end zone, and noticed his face was bright red. And I'm like, all right, maybe
sunburn,
maybe sunburn, or maybe he got I don't know what happened, but I was like, something's not right here. And, he was able to throw that touchdown, but it really It really takes a lot out of you to see your star guy, not even to see the face of your city leave like the way he did. It really destroys you and it breaks you down.
It breaks you down for sure. And, it's funny you say that because I've never seen this city on Monday so depressed. You walk into the Wawa, people just have their heads down. I'm talking to people, I'm getting food. People are like, oh my God, like but we're Philadelphia. This has happened to us before. We've seen it all.
We have seen it, but this run was more of it was such a sure thing, I felt like. They would have gotten this win against the Rams, and if we still had Wentz, God, can you imagine what cloud we'd be on right now? We would be so confident. Yeah. We would be so confident, and we would have no questions.
And I think that's half the problem. It's like this got stolen from us. This was the one. Everything shaped up perfectly for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. They have the best quarterback in the league. You saw Tom Brady Monday night. The Eagles have the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, he threw
above Brady.
He threw two or three interceptions against the Dolphins. That's not very Wentz.
It's just, and I'm going to throw some stats at you here. Well, not some stats, but some numbers here. Now, I'm not telling you the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl still, but Vegas, their odds have gone from plus 250 last week to win the NFC to plus 375, which isn't a crazy jump at all, which I was kind of surprised at. So Vegas still thinks the Eagles can make a run to the Super Bowl. Now I'm going to ask you, Jordan, let's put the injury aside. There's nothing we can do. How far do you ultimately think this team can go? Honestly, if Eagles get the number 1 seed and get the bye and home field advantage, they could make the run to the Super Bowl. Now, I don't think they could win the Super Bowl, but without that first-round bye and without that home field advantage, there's no way Nick Foles is going to these other locations and beating these teams. And I'm not taking anything away from him, but let's just be realistic. I can't really be a homer in that type of situation, okay? No, I agree. It's not being a homer. It's being realistic. But they're going to get home field throughout. They're going to win this week against the Giants. They are going, let me tell everybody right now, they are going to beat the living piss out of the New York Giants.
See, it's so critical for that to happen. You know why? Because this is a confidence booster. If Nick Foles can go into New York and they just rip their hearts out of their chests and blow them out of the water, it'll get the fans' confidence up. It'll get his confidence up. It'll get the team back up. It'll be huge.
Imagine that scene next Monday, if they beat them, I'm talking like 30, like 8-0. And everybody will be going, Nicky 6, Nicky franchise. And why not? We've been through so much in Philadelphia. The Wentz injury was the worst of all time. But 11-2, like I said, I don't think it's over yet. I'm not throwing the towel in yet. That's just me. So now you're right. We have to get home field advantage. So here's the deal with home field advantage. The Eagles obviously have the Giants. They're 7.5-point favorites, even without Wentz in New York. That's a stone ass beating that's coming up in New York. I can't wait. I'm thinking about going to the game, so I'll keep you posted on that. If I do, the Instagram's going to be wild at the game. But let's check out. I'd say the Saints and Panthers are pretty much done for home field advantage. If the Eagles just take care of business, they really are going to get it. But just to be safe, the Vikings play the Bengals this week. They're a 10.5-point favorite. That's a win. Then they go to Green Bay. We don't know about Rodgers yet. And then they got the Bears. So the Vikings could seemingly win out. But if the Eagles win the next two, they get it, no matter what.
And the thing is, if the teams that are sitting in the playoff bracket right now with the way everything looks, if the playoffs happen today, if you look at the teams and their locations, you got a few dome teams and you got a few warm climate teams. So if you get those teams coming into Philadelphia outdoors, cold weather, rock solid ground, it's a big advantage.
I agree with you. And here's my scenario. I'm going to throw this one at you. We're in the therapy room today. Let's just relax.
Yeah, get some zen. Get some zen going.
Let's talk how the Eagles are going to get the Super Bowl. I got the whole plan here for you, okay? So the Eagles are going to get home field throughout. The Saints are going to be coming to town. It's going to be the rematch. It's going to be Nicky 6, Nicky franchise versus Drew Brees Part 2 in South Philly at Lincoln Financial Field.
Yep.
Revenge situation for Nick Foles. It's going to be snowing out because it's going to be January 14th. It's going to be a Saturday night. It could be Saturday or Sunday. For this exercise, let's call it Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Snowing. Maybe a nor'easter even. You see Buffalo last week? The Eagles are going to win that game by the slimmest of margins. The Saints can't run that offense in the snow. The Eagles are going to get by the Saints. And then, tell me you wouldn't sign up for this. Minnesota coming to Philadelphia. Foles versus Keenum. Pick your poison. I'll ride with Nicky Six all day long, right to the Super Bowl. Then the Super Bowl, all bets are off. You in with that?
I'm completely in with that.
Did actually. I sell you on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the Vikings. Here's the thing about the Eagles roster. Eagles have a lot of players on their roster that have been in Super Bowls before. Chris Long, Garrett Blunt, Jenkins. These guys are able to rally this team up, and they've been there before. This is something I noticed about the Vikings. The Vikings don't have very many. I don't know how many players they've had that have been to a Super Bowl. So there's not much, I guess you would call, Pro Bowl veteran presence in the Vikings locker room. You know, they're kind of like, the Vikings are kind of like the Eagles of the 2013 era.
They kind of remind me of that,
in my opinion. So they're a team that I could just see slip up in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not going to be afraid of I'm sorry, people. I'm not going to be afraid of Keenum, Latavius Murray, and Jerick McKinnon. I'll take Foles, Ajayi, and Blunt over that group all day long.
And Clement, look, the plays they had designed for Clement that I saw on Sunday looked phenomenal in the first half. Phenomenal.
Absolutely agree. I mean, so
you got South Jersey's finest, Glassboro. Come on.
Run the ball. Run the ball 40 times a game if you have to.
You got to get the momentum going early, and anything can happen.
And I got to tell you, I'm kind of fired up for this Giants game. It's like a different kind of fired up, though. I'm fired up like God has just pushed me up against a wall, and I got to fight back. Like, I want to see how Peterson coaches this week. I want to see how Foles plays this week. I want to see how the defense responds this week.
And I'm glad you're bringing up that whole Peterson coaching Foles scenario, because people, you got to think about this. Peterson, when he was in Kansas City, he was coaching Nick Foles, who was a backup at the time. So the relationship,
and he was part of the staff that drafted Foles.
Yeah, he was a quality control coach back when he was with the Eagles.
And he loved Foles. And he drafted Foles.
There's a bond there, okay? And Doug Peterson's a former quarterback, okay? So he knows how this is. He knows how the backup situation is. He knows you have to step up. He's good at fulfilling that information.
And Frank Reich.
He's got
won 2 games.
Nick Foles has a good support staff around him, okay? It's not like we have this horrible coach. To me, Doug Peterson should be up for Coach of the Year this year.
Peterson, it's locked. He's the head. No team in the league doesn't have a quarterback, a left tackle, and a middle linebacker. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So they did what we've had so much depth on this team that no matter who went down, the next man stepped up. And it's going to be obviously a little bit tougher with the quarterback position.
Sure. Nobody's saying it's not.
But they can do it.
And we're not sitting here saying that, oh my God, we got we're going to replace Carson Wentz. And no, we're not. And it'll be interesting to see. The offensive line, struggled. And that's putting it nicely. The defense didn't play as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the defense can play in a dogfight, because they haven't been in many dogfights, although they rose to the occasion in the fourth quarter against the Rams once Wentz went out. So that's the defense I want to see. I want to see that last, 7 minutes defense for an entire game against the Giants.
So when Foles goes in, there's going to be, and you'll see it this Sunday, you're going to see frustrations. And you're going to see things. Look, and people have heard this a million times. Foles is not Carson Wentz. So Foles will not be able to extend plays and roll out of the pocket and, avoid sacks like Carson Wentz was. That's why Carson Wentz was great. Foles will not be able to read defenses and check plays like Wentz did. That was Carson Wentz. That's why Carson Wentz was MVP caliber. Foles, however, is a veteran quarterback. So I think if they protect, some type of system to protect him.
They're going to, and that's what I kind of mean by let's see how Peterson coaches. I think they're going to tailor the game plan around Nick Foles. It's not rocket science here, people. And just to finish my point about not giving up on the season, these players aren't giving up on this thing either. You don't think they're going to be ready to go and take it upon themselves to raise their level of play without Carson Wentz? These guys are ready to go. And it's not, like I said, it's not a belief in Nick Foles. I just believe in this team, and there's no reason not to. They haven't proven us wrong yet. They haven't. Sorry.
And guys, everybody, you still got Carson Wentz on the sideline. We still got him. He's still on our team. Okay, he's still there. He's still gonna be working with Nick Foles through the process, and he'll still be on our sideline with the clipboard. You know, I know everybody wants him on the field, as do I, but he's still there.
Yep.
We still got the support. We still got the support of everybody.
And there would be no better way to start this, I guess, Carson Wentz-less era of football with an ass beating of the New York Giants. So I want to transition here into that game on Sunday a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the Giants rivalry a little bit. Yeah, they suck 2-10. We got our own problems. We just lost Carson Wentz. But this rivalry is special, and I know you have some thoughts on the rivalry, so I want to hear those.
So this rivalry is when I called in your show a couple weeks ago when we were going into the Dallas week, I spoke about this being the Giants-Eagles rivalry being a more authentic rivalry because we are 75 miles south of New York City, okay? We are kind of the two of the same type of cities, that tough guy mentality, you know, East Coast, you know.
Yeah, we're essentially next-door neighbors.
Yeah, we're next-door neighbors, so there's a lot of animosity. I know New Yorkers despise Philadelphians. I know they despise people like me.
I know they've been running their mouth.
Yeah,
they've been running their mouth about the Wentz injury all week.
I mean,
by the way, the backlash about the Wentz injury has been disgusting. People really do hate Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I believe me, I've been infuriated by what I've seen these past couple of days. But what I'm saying is they hate people like me because I'm the stereotypical Philadelphia fan that just doesn't shut his mouth and he'll mouth off to anybody and he'll brag and boast nonstop. That's me.
Hence why we get a bad rep, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, somebody has to keep that thing going.
You know what? After this week, I'm embracing you. I'm going back to my roots of that I don't care about anybody because nobody cares about Philly. So, You know what? F you. But anyway, is this more important to you than Dallas?
This particular year, it's a little bit different because, I mean, the crap and dumpster fire that's been going on in New York this year has been. I mean, I'm not going to say I feel bad for them because I
don't feel,
but I'm saying it's taking a little bit out of a little bit of fire out of everything because I mean they never going to kick their ass.
Well, this would be the last time potentially the Eagles play Eli Manning. End of an era here.
Very true.
They most likely will. I don't see how they're going to bring him back.
We've been destroying. I mean, I know Giants have 2 Super Bowls, but we've been kind of destroying Eli Manning for over a decade.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to a couple of these will be highlighted here. A couple of those big wins over Eli. I'm going to throw 3 games at you. You rank them 1, 2, 3. I'll rank mine as well. All miracles in the Meadowlands. Well, not one wasn't a miracle. The Brian Westbrook punt return to win the game. I think it was 0-3. Brandon Jacobs, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Eagles beat them in the Meadowlands, divisional playoffs, 2008, but it was January of 2009. Beat them, and we went to the NFC Championship game and the Deshaun Jackson miracle in the Meadowlands. I want them 1, 2, and 3. But the Westbrook punt return was awesome, so just go ahead.
The best one of all time that I've seen is the Deshaun Jackson punt return.
That whole thing was.
It's one of those things I still watch today.
Yeah.
And I watched the video, and I know it's a couple years ago, and I'm watching the video. I'm like, oh, man, they're not going to come back in this. You're still kind of in the moment. You're like, no, there's no way they're going to score like 30 points to get back in the game. And then you watch the video and you're like, oh man, you know, they've paraded through. Michael Vick comes through launching touchdowns, and then Coughlin comes out to the punter and says, you know, you got one job. Don't punt it to Deshaun Jackson. What's he do? He punts it to Deshaun Jackson. It was unreal. This is number 1 by a landslide.
But that Brian Westbrook punt return was awesome, dude.
Absolutely,
really
absolutely. And I put that at number 2, and then I would put you know, obviously the other one at number 3. But you got, I know
what division do we won that game to go to the NFC Championship?
But you do
against the Giants in the Meadowlands. The Giants were the number 1 seed. We were the number 6 seed.
But you do know if you ask like our fathers this question, Miracle in the Meadowlands number 1 with Vince Papale would probably be number 1. Would that not be correct?
Yeah, I would agree. Herm Edwards.
Yeah, there was times.
Here you go.
This is just amongst our.
There you go.
Wait. And it's a line drive kick. Jackson bobbles it and now has to try and recover. Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding? Deshaun Jackson.
There it is. Still not in.
Still not in, and now in in for the touchdown.
No flags.
Unbelievable. No time left.
Glock, I'm about to run through that wall right now. That's
That
how
game was
that's
so
how
awesome.
amped up I just got just now.
Well, that's how amped up we could potentially be if the Eagles beat the piss out of this team and Nick Foles is throwing 4 touchdown passes in New York on Sunday. So, yeah, those are my 3 favorite Giant wins. The Brian Westbrook punt return, the divisional playoffs 2008-2009 season. We beat them. The Giants were the 1 seed. The Eagles were the 6 seed. And, of course, Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Deshaun Jackson, are you kidding me? No flags. I watched that quite a few times myself.
Oh, absolutely.
So I want to go through some games here before we get an Eagles-Giants prediction. It's a big week in the NFL. Big week. So we got Saturday night football. How about that, huh? We got the Chargers, a favorite in Kansas City against old friend Andy Reid.
Who beat the Chargers? I forget.
The Eagles.
Yeah.
In L.A.
Well,
That's
it
right.
didn't really look like L.A. in the stands.
No. Who do you got?
I'm going to take the Chargers in that. I think the Chargers win that game, and I think it's going to be Phillip Rivers just launching touchdowns. I think it's going to be 37-20.
Man, I'm going to go with Andy, the home dog, on Saturday night. I don't know why. I have no rhyme or reason for it. Probably idiotic pick. It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the last time. Check. Glocks locks out. They're not doing so well this year, but I'm going to go with Andy. Home dog. Miami won. New England, speaking of Miami won, New England, who's coming off of a loss, a Monday night debacle, going to Pittsburgh. They are a 3-point favorite in Pittsburgh. The number 1 team in the power rankings this week, the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a farce. Who you got?
Steelers. I mean, the Patriots are going to win that game, and I'll tell you why. Now, the Dolphins basically, I guess they kind of somewhat developed a blueprint for how to stop Tom Brady, which is forcing pressure up the middle, and they'd be able to get to him and force interceptions in the secondary. However, they got Bill Belichick, who's the greatest coach of all time, so he's going to revamp everything this week. They got Gronk coming back. Patriots win this one, and they're going to be angry doing it.
Yeah,
it's going to be 24-10. They're gonna kick the crap at them, and it's going to be one of those games where you've seen a lot of the Steelers have been obviously fighting from behind in these games, and they've been able to get momentum by the fourth quarter and win it. It ain't going to happen like that. This is the Patriots, okay? These guys have been just kicking the crap out of teams for the last 15 years.
Yeah, New England doesn't lose 2 in a row. I'm going with New England. And I don't believe in Pittsburgh. I mean, yeah, they got a great offense, but you can't keep winning games by miracle field goals every freaking week long. I'm sorry. Rams in Seattle. The division on the line here. If Seattle wins, they are in the driver's seat for the division championship with 2 wins over the Rams. Seattle is a 2-point favorite. Big game. Who you going with?
Look, I have a lot of respect for Seattle and Russell Wilson, the way they were able to handle the Eagles 2 weeks ago. But with the disaster that I saw last weekend and the way that Pete Carroll's been kind of handling the locker room, it seems like there's a lot of distractions going on right now. And I think the Rams actually beat Seattle, and I wouldn't have said this.
Wow, no way.
I wouldn't have said
no
this.
No chance, dude.
I think the Rams. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be 2017.
No,
Rams.
I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks at home. The Rams are beat up. The Eagles. That was a war last week between the LA and the Eagles. I'm going with Seattle. I just don't think they're going to lose at home. And then Seattle's going to be in the playoffs, and we may get a rematch with them in South Philly. And I don't know how.
That's somebody I don't want to. That's someone I don't want to see in the playoffs. I do not want to see Seattle.
I'm not really interested in seeing them in the playoffs either, especially with Foles, a quarterback. But it's time now. I need to get your prediction for Sunday. Are you believing with me? Are you believing in a rout? Because that's what I see.
Yeah, they're going to kick the crap out of New York. And all the New Yorkers, like I said, everybody in all the 5 boroughs, all North Jersey. Look, what I'm saying is they're going to kick the crap out of them. I'll tell you what the score is going to be. You ready for this? This is going to get people's confidence up, too.
Go ahead. Tell the people.
It's going to be 41-30.
41-30?
41-30.
The Eagles are going to give up 30 points?
I think the Giants are going to clean up crap. First of all, I think
the Eagles give up 30 points.
I think
I'm
the Giants
jump off a bridge.
I think the Giants defense is going to end up scoring a touchdown.
You know what? I usually do this on Sunday, but I need to uplift the spirits here. So I'm going to give you right here on the Glockcast my prediction and score right here, right now. I'm going with the Eagles. 34-3 in an absolute ass-beating statement victory. We aren't going anywhere Sunday.
I gave him way too much points, didn't I?
Yeah, way too many. I'm going 34-3. You'll see it again on Sunday. I'll put it out there, but I'm telling you right now, I think the Eagles make a statement this week. And now, if they don't, then we're in a lot of trouble. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about next week. But for now, I'm believing in this team.
Yup.
All right, Jordan, thank you for being with me today through this therapy session. I hope we help things a little bit this week. I know it's been a tough couple days.
Everyone, if I can get through this, so can you, okay? And look, I've cried myself to sleep the past couple of nights. Do what you got to do, you know? Take up some hobbies to take your mind off this injury. Do something.
Yeah, like,
okay, things are gonna be okay.
Here's the hobby: beat the Giants and beat them bad, and give the city
here's some reality. We have Carson Wentz for the next decade and a half. So these teams that are out there in this division in the NFC East are gonna have to deal with him for the next decade and a half. So just relax, calm down.
Wow, that's Jordan saying that. So everybody,
who knows how long I'm like this? You know,
I don't know. We'll see next week. If they lose to the Giants, he's not going to be like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna break
guys.
my TV.
If you're not checking out mouthpiecesportstalk.com, I don't know what you're doing. We have you covered. It's been a therapy session all week. Hit us up on Twitter. Ask us anything. We got your back. Look out for fantasy from Dunphy this week. Playoffs, huge. Look out for the article later this week. You got Hudson coming through big. He gave 5 reasons why the Eagles still have a chance. If you didn't read that, read it. The power rankings. The debut of the Foles files will be Monday. The Wentz report, unfortunately, is done for this season. We will have one to wrap up. MouthpieceSportsTalk.com. We're taking over. The revolution. It's where it's at. It's the best Philadelphia sports blog going. I'm sorry, I'm biased, but it is. It's the best one going. And don't forget about our friends, Gladiator Custom Mouthguards. Gladiator Custom Mouthguards is the proud sponsor of Mouthpiece Sports Talk. As the premier custom fit mouthguard in the USA, a Gladiator is engineered with a patent cut to design to intimately fit each individual athlete's mouth, offering maximum comfort, the best fit, and the most protective mouthguard available. Visit www.gladiatorguards.com today to experience the difference, or you could click the icon on mouthpiecesportstalk.com. Ladies and gentlemen, breathe. It'll be all right. It's not over yet. Don't throw that towel in. Glockcast, I will talk to you next week. 12-2, 34-3, Eagles ass whooping. EAGLES.